We are live, we are live, we are live, we are live. To talk about some boxing. I don't think the coming weekend is all of that enthralling when it comes to boxing. I don't think there's many cards going down this weekend per se. I know there's a card in Canada that I believe Christian Mbili is fighting Sergey Derevianchenko. That's a decent fight at 168. Also on the undercard, you have Guido Vianello against Arslanbek Makhmudov. Loser leaves town heavyweight fight. That could be fun for what it is, but ultimately, you look at both of those guys, and neither really, you would imagine, has a great future in the heavyweight division, aside from being in maybe some fun fights. But in regards to contending and things like that, yeah, you would assume those guys are going to be nowhere near, but put those two guys together, and yeah, it's probably going to be a decent fight. So yeah, you've got the card in Canada, which is okay. But aside from that, man, this weekend is kind of dead. From what I'm seeing, it's kind of dead. I'm looking through BoxRec right now. And yeah, nothing really is jumping out at me per se. Nothing's jumping out at me. I don't even think there's a big card in the States this weekend. No, there's not. So yeah, the only card this weekend is the Canada card. And that's really it. What's up, Alan? How you doing, man? Big up to yourself, bro. Yeah, the Mbili fight will be good, yeah. He's fighting Derevianchenko. Derevianchenko, we know at this stage, he always comes to win, but always falls short. And I expect the same to happen against Christian Mbili. Mbili's been around for a long, long time now. He's built a record of like 27-0, something like that. Fun fighter, very entertaining. I think he'll beat Derevianchenko, but where he goes from there, we'll see. Maybe he'll fight for a vacant title once Canelo starts to lose those belts. I don't know. And yeah, like I said, on the undercard, you've got Makhmudov versus Vianello at heavyweight. That's an okay fight for what it is. Also on the undercard, but one thing I will say is watch out for Osleis Iglesias. He's a Cuban super middleweight, looking very good. He's fighting on the undercard as well. But yeah, I mean, yeah, the Mbili Derevianchenko card is really it this weekend. It's not a great weekend at all. And that's going to be a fun fight, but I think we all realize how that fight's going to go, right? Derevianchenko is going to give it the plucky underdog type of performance where he'll win a few rounds, he'll give him some trouble, but very much doubt he's going to win. Do I like Ortiz versus Crawford? Yeah, I mean, it's a fun fight, right? If it happens next, I'll be excited, but based on what I saw from Ortiz's last performance, I would make Crawford a favorite, to be honest with you. I was worried about Ortiz's balance in that Bohachuk fight. Very worried. To me, he doesn't look as fluid as he once did a couple of years ago post this illness. The way I can describe it, in watching him against Bohachuk, for me, his work looked extremely forced. Whereas before, he was fighting with a level of fluidity and things were coming naturally to him. At least that's how it appeared watching him fight. In the fight with Bohachuk, to me, his balance looked way off. And for me, he was forcing his work way too much, like he lost some muscle memory almost. That's the only way I can describe it. Yeah, and Bealey's going to outspeed him all night. Chenko is shot-worn. Yeah, 100%. I agree. And yeah, and Bealey's a bigger puncher. He's younger, he's fresher, he's quicker, probably bigger as well. Well, he is bigger. So, yeah. I mean, I'd take Canelo, but I don't really care about that fight, to be honest. At first watch, I had Bohachuk winning. Yeah, I wasn't scoring it round by round, but it was a very close fight. I need to score it round by round, to be honest with you. Yeah, I need to watch it again as well. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Regardless of how anybody had that fight, it wasn't decisive. In an ideal world, Ortiz should really be rematching Bohachuk. Bohachuk deserves a rematch based on that performance, based on how close it was. He deserves a rematch. But is it going to happen? I very much doubt it. I very much doubt it. But I hope it happens. I think a rematch is the right thing to do. I think a rematch is the correct way to go about that situation. But again, is it going to happen? I doubt it. You got a feeling that Dubois is going to knock out Joshua? I mean, he's got a puncher's chance, but aside from that, I make Joshua a favourite. I personally don't believe Dubois can afford to get caught with the amount of right hands that he got caught against Hrgovic. I don't think he can be so defensively lax in this fight with Joshua, because Joshua, I think Dubois is going to feel those punches a lot more. Dubois got the power to maybe turn it and maybe land that perfect shot. 100%. He's got a puncher's chance, but skill for skill, I think Joshua's a favourite. He's taller, he's longer, he's more experienced. I think the straight punching of Joshua poses a threat for Dubois. Dubois is way open for the overhand and straight right. I don't think he's not the type of fighter who takes his head off centre line. And against a guy who's got superior reach in Joshua and power, that could be a recipe for disaster. But Dubois got a puncher's chance. I think it's an interesting fight, but it's a fight right now where I'm favouring Joshua. Would I be like totally shocked and bamboozled if Dubois won? I wouldn't be shocked as such, but maybe a little surprised, Maybe a little surprised. You think Joshua's going to get put down early, but will come back and win by stoppage? Yeah, I guess that's like the next big fight coming up, right? It feels like there's a different featherweight champion every 5 minutes over the last 18 months. I can't keep track of it. Yeah. So, what's his face? Bernardo Lopez got knocked out by Angelo Leo in a somewhat of an upset. Very good knockout, by the way, if you haven't seen it. I rated Bernardo Lopez, but with his style, that's always the risk. I just didn't think it would be a guy like Angelo Leo to do the job. That's actually a good shout. If AJ goes down, it's going to be via a body shot, as AJ could be weak to the body. I don't think Dubois is as big a puncher up top as some believe. Yeah, one thing about Dubois, he does have a very good body attack, and we saw Joshua get hurt way back when against Dillian White to the body. And also Usyk done some very good body work against Joshua. So yeah, the issue for Dubois is to land those shots on Joshua, to land those body shots on Joshua, he's going to be open to get caught himself. That's the thing for Dubois. He's going to be open to get caught as well when he's trying to go for those body shots, whether it be the uppercut, the overhand right, the left hook. It's an interesting fight, though. You think Josh Kelly's going to stop a washed-up Liam Smith? Shame, really. It's funny you say that. The more I think about it, the more I'm favouring Kelly just to outmaneuver him. It's not that I even rate it's not that I rate Josh Kelly. I just think he's got more in the tank. And Liam Smith has seen better days. To be honest, I think he's seen better days. Okay. There we go. That could happen as well, considering how gung-ho Dubois has been in the last 2 fights against Miller and especially against Hrgovic. If he adopts the same tactics he did against Hrgovic, there is a chance he could get cleaned out early. That's a very real possibility. I don't think that's like a bad prediction or anything like that. I think it's a possibility that he gets stopped early. Sorry, I'm just looking for something. My bad. Fucking rustling about. Yeah, Smith Kelly's on the Joshua undercard. So there's Smith Kelly, there's Warrington versus Kakache. I think Mark Chamberlain's on the card as well. It's a decent card, I think. It's a decent card. It's a decent card. I think there's another fight I'm forgetting as well. Yo, what's up, G-Man? Salute to yourself, man. Hopefully you're well. Hopefully you're keeping well, bro. Sorry, I'm fucking getting up and down and shit. It's my bad. Yep, 3 things that are inevitable in life: death, taxes, and Josh Warrington in a world title fight. Yes, sir, bro. Listen, I understand the criticism for Josh Warrington getting a title fight. I've criticized him in the past for getting these types of fights post Lara. But I will say, I think Warrington versus Kakache could be a very good fight. I think it'll be a very good fight. Bakole would beat Fury and Joshua, in my opinion. Listen, Bakole showed out really well against Hunter, against Anderson. We predicted it on this channel he would beat Anderson. I think he's a fighter in which has a lot of interesting attributes for a heavyweight. Good body puncher, good up close, shortens his punches really well, nice punch technique. He's got a lot of good attributes, but I think Bakole needs to get a little trimmer for a start, and he needs to get a bit more defensively astute. But yeah, he has interesting attributes. I mean, personally, the fights I'd like to see Bakole in would be Caballel. I think that's a very interesting fight. Joseph Parker is another very interesting fight. Zhili Zhang would be very entertaining. Like, Zhili Zhang versus Bakole is really, really good because Bakole is so lapsed defensively that he could get knocked out early. However, if he can get through the first few rounds without getting knocked out, can Zhang then keep up with the pace? That's a great fight, you know, Zhang versus Bakole. That's a very fun heavyweight fight. But yeah, Bakole is an interesting fighter. He's not a bad fighter at all. Yeah, big puncher Dubois could not drop a completely gassed Hrgovic, good chin or not. Yeah, that's true as well. I understand what you're saying. You got Zhangzilla over Bakole. I think I'd favour Zhang as well, but I again, it's one of those fights where I'd favour Zhang, but would I be shocked if Bakole won? No, not really. Dubois and AJ are both vulnerable, but I edge Joshua. I think they're both. I think they both punched hard enough to make it a good fight for the fans. I think all the fights that have been made. Yeah, all the fights on the card are entertaining. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Speaking of heavyweights, we need Jermaine Franklin back in there. He's probably the best American heavyweight right now. That's a great subpoint. That's a great subtopic. Who is the best American heavyweight right now? Anderson got fucking folded. Wilder is Wilder. You've got Jermaine Franklin. You've got Richard Torres coming up. Who is the best American heavyweight right now? That's a great question. Let's be honest, the American heavyweight scene right now is looking pretty bleak. It's looking bleak. Who is the best American heavyweight right now? Would you still say Wilder? I mean, regardless of who you say, it's a damning indictment. Michael Hunter's looked terrible for a long time. Aside from Richard Torres, who's coming up? Yeah, Bakole needs to train more. He spends far too much time in Congo with no real schedule, yeah. I'm still not convinced by Parker's ascension over his last 2 fights. I think they were very nice matchups for him. I think that's a little unfair. He was the underdog in both fights, to be fair to him. He was the underdog in both fights. Dubois, yeah, Daniel Dubois. Does Edgar Berlanga go balls out in the first round for a KO against Carrot Top? Bro, I'm not interested in that fight. It's a fucking sham. In my opinion, it's a sham fight. Berlanga is basically domestic level. Like, he's kind of like a domestic level UK guy who's getting a bit of hype. That's what he is. He's not beat anybody. He's not beat anybody. I've not seen improvements from when I first saw him. He's not quick. He's not agile. He doesn't have a great jab. He's not a great boxer. He's a strong guy, a big guy with an okay punch. That's all he is. That's an easy fight for Canelo Alvarez. But you know, it is what it is. I'm not particularly interested. I've got no faith in Berlanga whatsoever. Is he even going to turn up to fight? I don't know. To be fair, against Anderson, Bacole did show some decent head movement at times. His defense is a lot better than Joe Joyce's, in my opinion. I get where you're coming from. So that's the thing with a guy like Bacole. He shows signs of real quality at times where he'll inject pace into his punches, or like you say, move his head a little bit and things like that. But I don't think he's got the fitness to maintain it throughout a 12-round fight. I think that's the issue. Yeah, and Wilder's beyond washed. But who would you say is the best American heavyweight right now? I can't think of a name. You can't say Torres because he's so unproven, and I don't rate Torres that highly anyway. Maybe it's still Wilder, you know, as crazy as that sounds. Yes, very weak, 100%. Chris Lovejoy, America's #1 heavyweight. Hang on, Bacole stole 100K from the government in Congo. That's hilarious, if he did. But aside from Torres, I don't really know who's coming up in America. And every time I see Richard Torres fight, I just think that guy's a knockout waiting to happen. To be honest with you. He looks like a knockout waiting to happen for me. Maybe it's Jarrell Miller. I forget about Jarrell Miller. I mean, I felt Ruiz lost to Miller clearly, like 8-4. I know he had a hand injury, but on the basis I felt Miller won. I'm going to call Jarrell Miller the best American heavyweight right now. I'm going to call Miller. I'm going to call Miller to be the best US heavyweight right now. There we go. Yeah, I mean, Charles Martin could be like a decent opponent for an up-and-comer. Like a Richard Torres. Like an Atalma. These sort of guys. Yeah, he seems okay, Dubois. I think he's a bit slow, like genuinely. Possibly. You'll have to ask the Americans, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, both America and the UK did really bad in the Olympics, from what I'm seeing. I think we won like one medal, which was a bronze. I know apparently a couple of our fighters got robbed, but I'm not really sure on it. Yeah, did America win any medals? I think they won one medal, right? I wasn't scoring it round by round. Watching it live, I felt it could have gone either way, but I need to score it round by round. Yeah, I mean, USA basketball should win gold every time, to be honest. Yeah, Dubois' style is a lot more like Frank Bruno's than let's say AJ's was, because a lot of people compared AJ to Frank Bruno early in AJ's career. I never really saw the comparison, to be honest with you. There were some similarities, but stylistically they fought a lot different. Bruno was a lot stiffer than AJ, a lot stiffer. But even Dubois got a lot more fluid as he's gone through the years. If AJ goes down, it's going to be by a headbutt. Hang on, I'm going to Google this. US Olympic boxing. I think they won one medal, right? Apparently they won one bronze medal. Uzbekistan won the most golds in the boxing. They won 5 golds, Uzbekistan. 5 golds. One of those was Jalalov, who's a pro, and also Duzmatov, who's also a pro. But I keep on getting told about this guy called Lazizbek Mulajanov, who is, I believe, a cruise. No, he's a. Is he? He's either a. I think he's a cruiserweight. But I keep on getting told about him being the next big thing. A guy called Lazizbek Mulajanov. But yeah, 25-year-old southpaw, 6'3". He was fighting at heavyweight in the Olympics. So I'm guessing he'll turn pro as a heavyweight. Bro, thank you, SBD DJ. Thank you, man. And yeah, just ignore it, man. It's character building. Just ignore it, bro. Just ignore it. Just ignore it, man. You look back on it in a few years' time and realize how insignificant it was. How does Jamel Charlo do against Bud, Israel, and Fundora? I think it's just impossible to say with Jamel right now, because can Jamel even make the weight anymore? Not sure. I think if I was Jamel, I'd go at 160 personally. And I wouldn't, if he goes back to 154, I wouldn't want to see him take one of those fights right away. I'd rather see him take an interim fight, see how he looks, and then go from there. Right now, I can't bet on Jamel Charlo doing anything of anything, to be honest with you. What do you think about Marco Verde? He was the guy who beat Lewis Richardson, right? And everybody was saying it was a robbery. I can't say because I never watched it, but all the reaction I saw was that it was a robbery. But you guys will have to tell me. But yeah, he's from Sinaloa, right? Marco Verde. He's from Sinaloa. Won a medal for Mexico in the Olympics. We'll see. It's actually pretty unusual for a Mexican to turn pro with a medal. Usually those guys turn pro very, very early, and they kind of skip the amateur scene. I know you get a lot of like Mexican Americans go amateur and do well, but a Mexican turning pro, like a Mexican turning pro with an Olympic medal is something a little different. So I'm sure when he does turn pro, he's going to get a bit of a push. You would imagine he'll get a bit of a push. But yeah, he's from Sinaloa. I've not seen the guy fight. What division is he? Light heavy? No, welterweight. Welterweight. Hang on, is Charlo in prison? Is Jamel Charlo in prison? Yeah, I agree, Copendo 9. They could retire tomorrow, and I really wouldn't care, to be honest with you. Listen, they are just big disappointments, I would say, especially Jamal Charlo when he turned pro. Well, he looked decent for a while, but yeah, both guys have regressed. Not really interested. Oh, corruption, man. It has been a long, long time, bro. Hopefully you're keeping well, first and foremost. Boxing is in terminal decline. I need a sabbatical. Yeah, the Saudi cards have been interesting. I know a couple of the scorecards have been dodgy, like with Virgil and like Miller versus Ruiz. But one thing I'll say about the Saudi cards, or the cards backed by Saudi so far anyway, to me, like most of the fights, if not all of the fights, look real at least. Like I don't see fights where there's like a blatantly compromised guy. I was talking about this in a previous video. Like it seems like a lot of A-side fighters are struggling on these Saudi-backed cards, and I find that very interesting. Wilder, Fury, Crawford, Ruiz. I wouldn't go that far, Virginia. We need to see Ortiz again after that performance. I think the ideal thing would be for him to rematch Bohachuk and put it right and win decisively. Because let's say you actually felt he won genuinely. Nobody can sit here and say it was decisive because it wasn't. It wasn't decisive. Yes, Sinaloa's Cartel City, yeah. Yeah, but I'll be interested because I'm sure he's going to get some fanfare. I'm sure he's going to get some fanfare when he turns pro. Because again, usually Mexican fighters, they don't really do much in the amateurs. They turn pro so early. And that Verde guy is only 22. So we'll see what he does. We'll see what he does. Thank you, Mr. Vanilla. Thank you. Yeah, this Mexican Olympian better not turn pro with Olympic-style boxing, as that goes against their so-called Mexican-style boxing. Yeah, I think the whole Mexican-style thing's overblown anyway. Like, what is Mexican-style? For me, Mexican-style just means fighting with cojones and fighting with real desire. I don't think it necessarily encapsulates a style per se. I think all it really means is do or die type of thing. Leave no stone unturned. Because a guy like Salvador Sanchez, for example, the guy had balls of steel, but you look at his style and he was slick. He could fight, he could counterpunch, he could box, he could do everything. You look at a guy like Barrera, tactically one of the best fighters you'll see. You know, a guy like Marquez, master counterpuncher. Morales, box fighter. I'm not even sure what the Mexicans... I think Mexican style is just a term that's been pushed by lazy boxing journalists, to be honest. I think it's just a term that's been pushed by lazy boxing journos more than anything. Even a guy like a Prime Estrada, for example, in recent years, like, what is Mexican style? I think that's always been a bit of a disservice, Mexican style. Like, there's different. All of these great Mexican fighters have had different styles, kind of thing. That's basically it. It's a marketing tool, 100%. 100%. Destroy the liver, that's a good shout, to be fair. Yeah, Mexico have had a lot of champions, that can't be denied. Pound for pound, one of the best boxing nations. Pound for pound, one of the best boxing nations, without doubt. But then again, how do you judge that? Like, a lot of people don't understand per capita. I'm not sure what country in the world has produced most world champions per capita. I'm assuming it's still the USA. Saudi big money trying to expedite Crawford to 154 undisputed, perverse partnership. Well, based on that Madrimov fight, man, I really don't think that's a foregone conclusion, personally. Like, Tim Zhu, yeah, he lost his last fight, but there were circumstances surrounding that. I don't use that fight as like a black mark against Tim Zhu. I still think he's very live in that division, as is Madrimov. Fundora himself, just based on his fucking size, you know? There's guys in that division who can cause a lot of trouble. Yeah, Golovkin made millions with that slogan. That's true. Yeah, big drama show and Mexican style. Do people from the UK know about Fat Joe? Yeah, people know about Fat Joe. I'm not sure if it's a fact. You guys will have to tell me. Ortiz lost, in your opinion? What's up, Big Say So, by the way? Robbery, how Ortiz got dropped twice and still won. Yeah. Well, this is the thing. I think it was Fight Phil made a good point. Like, let's say you felt it was a fight that could have gone either way. These fights that can go either way usually only go one way, and that's in the favor of the A side. So that kind of says it all. Like, if Bohachuk was the A side, we all know he would have got the decision. Let's just be honest about it. He would have got the decision. Let's not beat around the bush. Crawford smokes Ortiz, no defense. Yeah, Ortiz looked very vulnerable. I think he's got worse since this illness, personally. And I've been speculating about that for a long, long time. We saw his comeback fights earlier this year, 2 first-round knockouts against no-hopers. First bit of resistance, he didn't look convincing. Because the illness he had is I don't know whether he still has it, but it's pretty serious. It's pretty serious. Yeah. So for me, Big Say So, the main thing for Ortiz for me was the balance or lack thereof. I felt his balance looked really off. Really off. And his overall hand-eye coordination, the fluidity wasn't the same. Like I said earlier, everything he was doing seemed forced. Whereas before, a couple of years, 2 or 3 years ago, I felt it looked a lot more natural, just flowing, very fluid. But maybe, listen, it's the first hard fight he's had since Kavalauskas, over 2 years. So, listen, maybe it's a fight he needed. Maybe after this he gets better. I hope so. I hope so. Prime Bernard Hopkins versus Canelo. Who have you got? I guess they'd fight at 160, right? I actually think, regardless of politics, the Canelo who fought Golovkin in the second fight would beat Hopkins, personally. I think the Canelo who fought Golovkin in the second fight would beat Hopkins. Yeah, balance was off. His gas tank as well, bro. I've seen Virgil go some rounds, and he's looked a lot better than that. I totally agree, bro. Now I'm just trying to work out: is it because he hasn't had that sort of fight in a long while, and the inactivity, or is it because he actually is regressing, maybe physically? That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah, I agree, Del. Tim's being frozen out by Turkey unjustifiably. Deserves a rematch before Big Titty Spence, 100%. But apparently, from what I've been reading, Tim Tszyu could be Mando for the IBF champion, Murtazaliev, who beat Jack Holkai in Germany. So he's got a route to a title there. Apparently, he's fighting Erickson Lubin soon. I think he'll beat Lubin. But he's definitely got a route. He's definitely got a route. I think Roy Jones outpoints Canelo. I don't think Roy would knock out Canelo, but he'd easily outpoint him. Duran versus Golovkin at 160. Golovkin. At 160, Golovkin. I know Duran had that performance against Iran Barkley and put up a really good effort against Hagler, but I think Golovkin would beat him. Yeah, exactly. That's basically how it feels, yeah. Close fights can only go to the A side. Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing it's kind of funny when people say that when an A-side fighter gets a close decision, their fans will always say, well, yeah, it could have gone either way. Yeah, fair enough. But have you ever thought that these fights, they don't go either way, these close fights? They always go to the A-side 9 times out of 10. Valiev versus Joyce. Bro. Valiev could maybe, I'd probably take Joyce still, but yeah, I think Tim Tszyu was looking okay until the cut. But, Tim Tszyu carried on fighting. He put up a good effort. It was still a good fight. I don't hold that against Tim Tszyu, personally. That was one of those fights with a bizarre circumstance. Tim Tszyu fought through it. He still had success. He lost. But, yeah, it's not like he got outclassed or anything like that, Turkey acting like how Warren used to with Hearn by cutting out the likes of Canelo and Zhu Jr. Yeah. What fighters did you really enjoy, but they never seem to be mentioned anymore? That's a great question. That's a great question. I think Miguel Cotto to a degree. I feel like Miguel Cotto doesn't really get mentioned much anymore. I think a lot of it is because of his latter career, like, not fighting Golovkin and shit. He was very selective towards the end of his career, but his career was super fucking fun. So Miguel Cotto would be one. I think Joe Calzaghe to a degree. Arthur Abraham is one I liked. There's a few. I heard the American heavyweight Butterbean's on the comeback trail now. Bro, come on, man. Are you serious? Or are you trolling? Yeah, I hope Chisora doesn't get another big fight as he's completely washed and damaged to the brain. Was uncomfortable seeing his balance all over the place the other week. Yeah, but he got the job done, man. So what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I got that fight badly wrong. I felt Joyce would win. Maybe you could have a mid-off or a wash-off between like Wilder and Chisora, see who's more washed. Maybe that's the sort of fight you make next for Chisora. Butterbean wants to fight Jake Paul, okay. I think Canelo's too big for Crawford, personally. I think he's too big. I think Crawford will have success early on, just based, when he's mobile and when he's got the speed. But carrying the extra weight, I think he'll slow down. And yeah, Canelo's going to probably chop him up and take him out. I think I've asked this before, but what opinion in boxing do you have that you know is really controversial? I don't think for me. It's not controversial. For me, it's just common sense. But it's more so in regards to how we judge fighters from the past. A lot of people who should know a lot better don't understand the difference between like a legacy and greatness compared to technical skill and a fighter's refinement. So what I mean by that is a guy like Vitaly Klitschko versus Jack Johnson is a great example. So Jack Johnson has like the greater legacy, right? But if you got a time machine and took Jack Johnson to now, Jack Johnson wouldn't be like sparring partner worthy for Vitaly Klitschko. Yeah, I guess it's boxing fans who can't separate historical greatness from technical ability and how they would do in like fantasy fights. I guess that could be one. And how boxing fans, especially of an older generation, they think like boxing's the only sport to never evolve with like sports science and technical skill, training methods, etc. They think boxing's the only sport to just stay the same, where a guy from 1920 can like compete today with that current skill set of back then. Yeah, shit like this. Jack Dempsey would whoop Fury. Yeah, it's like top trump shit. It's so childish and asinine, and I'd expect a lot better from those types of people. Again, there's a difference between the debate of like who has a greater legacy, who achieved more in their eras. That's a different debate, totally different debate. But to say a guy like Jack Johnson could compete now is ludicrous. Or like Jack Dempsey or whatever. Ludicrous. Also, yeah, I'll leave it at that, I guess. Big up PSK, by the way. Salute. In regards to the Ortiz fight, I thought he lost. Wasn't a robbery, as it was relatively close. But with the knockdowns, Bohachuk did enough, in your opinion. Yeah, I see that as like, I think the most... as like the most sort of I see that opinion the most in regards to that fight. It was a very good fight, though. It was a very good fight. Yeah, like a lot of historical heavyweights would be light heavyweights or cruiserweights in today's era. Yeah, 100%. 100%. No, they were knockdowns, Virginia. Like, yeah, they weren't like full-blooded knockdowns where, yeah, Ortiz slipped a little bit. His footing got like a little lackadaisical, but the droppages were caused by the punches. If Bohachuk never threw a punch, Ortiz wouldn't have gone down. So by definition, they're knockdowns. Punches landed, Ortiz went down. I agree he wasn't hurt on either knockdown. He wasn't hurt, but they were still knockdowns. My controversial take is that Chris Eubanks Sr. had a really crappy record. His legacy is purely based off his persona. Outside the Ben fight, he hardly won anything at all in the ring. Yeah. Outside the Ben fight, what would you say? Roshi Yagani? Michael Watson? Yeah, Makhmudov versus Vianello is basically a loser leaves town fight, Stigar. It's basically a loser leaves town fight. I thought Vianello would fold though against a Jagba. He lost, but he put up a really good showing. Maybe he could do the same against Makhmudov. Maybe it could be enough. Oh, what's up, JD, by the way? Hang on, I'll try and highlight your comment. What's up, JD? Yeah, I mean, Chris Eubank Jr., if he gets the Canelo fight, then fuck me. Canelo is basically on his retirement arc. He doesn't want to fight anybody dangerous. I think the B-roll fight I think that really kind of let him know where he's at right now. I think Canelo knows he's a regressing fighter. He's not as good as he was 5 years ago. And he can get away with it by fighting guys like Berlanga, who he's still so much better than. But he knows he's on the downward slide, Canelo. Eubanks did give you he gave some great fights. He did. But in regards to like the name value on resumes, you can argue the resume's not that strong. Now we're just chatting, bro. We didn't miss much. Sorry, you didn't miss much. Yeah, it's getting there, JD. It's getting there. Probably the biggest fight on the schedule right now is Dubois AJ. Probably the biggest fight on the schedule. I'm still taking AJ. Personally, I'm still taking AJ, but it's a Dubois got a puncher's chance. Does Anderson retire in the near future? Well, he's said for a while he intends to retire young, so maybe that's maybe the loss to Anderson could have turned his head. I don't know. The only thing I'll say about Anderson, as bad as he was from like a tactical standpoint in that Bakole fight, and defensively as well, I will say he showed a bit of heart in that fight. He showed a willingness to continue, which I liked. But yeah, tactically, he was so inept. I don't know why after the first round he elected to stand with Bakole and give up ground like that. After that first round, he should have been trying to use his legs. You know, Bakole doesn't have the quickest feet in the world. Fundora Spence is set for October, apparently. I really don't know what to expect in that fight. I got a feeling Fundora's going to win, bro. If it's a real one, I've got a feeling Fundora's going to win. Because Spence looked so bad against Crawford. So bad. Like, not to the point where, like, you know, people are going to say, yeah, because Crawford was so great. But again, the punch resistance wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. He was getting knocked down by jabs and hurt by jabs. Spence has always shown a good chin. Prime Spence showed a good chin, you know, taking flush right hands by Kell Brook, for example. So yeah, I think Spence was very much compromised in that Crawford fight. I don't think he's going to be any better, to be honest. Maybe he'll be a bit healthier because of like the weight, but If Triple D knocks out Joshua, does he become a superstar in the UK, or does his shy personality hurt him from becoming a superstar? Yeah, he'll never be as big a star as AJ or Fury, but he'll definitely get in it. He'll get a boost. But yeah, even if he beats Joshua, I don't see him becoming like a house. I don't see him becoming like a major pay-per-view seller unless he's fighting the right opponent. Boots. Boots is way too big for Teofimo Lopez. Boots is way too big. Watched Spence versus Porter last night. It's sad to see how much he's regressed. Yeah, he's got worse as a fighter, Spence. And I think Fundora could very much beat him. I think I make Fundora the favourite, to be honest. Sweet G97, what's up, man? What's up, Ganja? I like the joke. It was all a dream. I like the joke. What do you think about rising Norwegian prospect Ivor Hardon? Lovely, very good. Pomac's appetite and weight is out of control. Bo's now eating the padding from all of Bud's gloves. Yeah, that is very strange, isn't it? Very, very strange. Your gloves blow up once. Maybe you can write it off as like a massive, like just a act of God. Happens twice. We need to start asking questions. So I never knew his gloves blew up a second time until after the Madrimov fight. That is a good shout. Yeah, Fundora 3-1 underdog with the bookies. Yeah, it's worth a bet. It's worth a bet. Yeah, can you think of any fighters that you once totally wrote off, thought were terrible, but they turned it around and won you around? Yeah, Badu Jack is a great example. Badu Jack went life and death with Marco Antonio Paraban. Got knocked out in a round by Derek Edwards. And back then, I just thought he was the TMT fucking bag carrier, to be honest. Spit bucket carrier. But yeah, I mean, after that, he went on a great run, winning the super middleweight title. I felt he clearly beat James DeGale. Should have been a unified champion. Won a fake title at light heavyweight. Won a cruiserweight title. Yeah, Badu Jack is definitely the one, I think. That comes, the one that instantly comes to my mind is Badu Jack. I don't know. I'm not American. I'm not sure. Mr. Vanilla, I'm not sure. Have you noticed all the American PBC gobshites who have seemed to have sorry. Yeah, okay. But yeah, the PBC guys who are hating on Turkey. Yeah. Yeah, they seem very uncomfortable. Yeah. Maybe I will. Yeah, maybe I will one day. It was all a dream. Possibly. I don't know. I don't know if I can deal with another platform though, to be honest with you. But possibly, yeah, it'd be fun. It's been a minute since I've seen it. It's been a long time since I've seen it. But when I watched it, we're talking about like 10, 12 years ago when I last watched that fight. And I think I had Castillo winning. But it's been a long, long time. 2014, 2013, probably the last time I saw that fight. Yeah, Kovalev winning against Elidia Alvarez in the rematch was it was a brief comeback though, wasn't it? It was only a brief comeback. It's only a brief comeback. Mayweather still. Yeah, I don't think Hatton beats Mayweather at 140. I think like forget like Mayweather, like Miguel Cotto, I think, would beat Hatton at 140, to be honest. I think Acosta Zhu, who was a couple of years younger, would have beaten Hatton at 140. Hatton was a very good fighter at 140. Like, very good foot speed, very good in the pocket, pretty explosive, underrated speed in general, okay power, very good body puncher, very physically strong. Hatton was a very good fighter, but I kind of think he was the beneficiary of like being at 140 at the right time kind of thing. Yeah, as a relatively new boxing fan, I can't believe there's people who support promotional companies. It's just weird to me. I've never understood it, bro. I've never understood it. Like, I've seen great fights by all promoters, and a good fight's a good fight. Do I think a prime Kovalev would have beaten Bivol or Beterbiev? I think Beterbiev is a bad style matchup for Kovalev. Personally, I think he'd have more of a chance against Bivol. But I'll take Beterbiev over prime Kovalev. Like the Beterbiev from the Vodzik fight, I'd have taken him to beat Bivol. Sorry, beat Kovalev. I think Salvador was a much more naturally talented fighter, a much more versatile fighter. Salvador was a guy who could really kind of do it all. Good boxer, good fighter, good counter puncher, tough guy. I'm not saying Alexis Arguello wasn't, but I think Salvador Sanchez was a more talented fighter. To be honest with you, could those guys have ever actually fought? It'd have been a great fight. It'd have been a great fight. I think Arguello was a bigger puncher though. Yo, what's up, Nordic? How you doing? Yeah, apparently October's happening. Apparently it's happening. Apparently it's set. So it's not on BoxRec yet, though. But that doesn't always tell the story, to be honest. Is there a fight in the UK that you'd consider going to live? I remember you saying that you weren't a fan of going live. I'm flying over for the Wembley card, buzzing for it. Nah, man, I've been to a few fights, and yeah, I mean, right now there's no fights that could get made that I'd really be super hyped to go and see live. Yeah, I agree, SM03. I agree. What's up, Nordic, by the way? Best modern era British 140 fighter, Hatton, Khan, or Taylor? In terms of pure accomplishments, you've got to say Taylor. In a head-to-head sense, I'll be honest, I think Hatton and Taylor both, a prime Hatton and a prime Taylor both beat Khan. Prime Hatton versus prime Taylor. I still might take Hatton over prime Taylor. A prime Hatton over prime Taylor. I don't know about that, actually. I don't know. I think Hatton was more explosive than Josh Taylor. I think Hatton was more explosive. That's a great fight. A prime Hatton versus prime Taylor at 140. Like, I look at the 140 division that Taylor unified or became undisputed in. It was a good division at the time. Like, it was a good division, but would I have picked Hatton to beat Postal? Yeah. Would I have picked Hatton to beat Ramirez? Yeah. Would I have picked Hatton to beat Baranchik? Yeah. Would I have picked Hatton to beat Prograde? That's the only one. Well, I'd be kind of iffy on it. But that'd be a great fight. Yeah, big up Nordic. Any fights that just didn't happen at all that you're still gutted about? Yeah. I was literally going to say the same thing. Kovalev Stevenson. For me, that's the one of like the last 10 years that should have really happened. Stevenson Kovalev. Easily, I'd say. Easily. That's the one. Stevenson Kovalev, yeah, 100%. Turkey is aligning with African Americans in Shakur and Bud who couldn't sell Afro Sheen to a black barbershop. Yeah, but the thing is with these fights, like the Crawford fight, it looked like a real fight. Like all of a sudden, Madrimov couldn't it wasn't like he suddenly couldn't take a punch anymore. So I don't know. I'm kind of intrigued where it goes. The whole Turkey thing. I'm intrigued where it goes. Super middleweight round robin style, all in their primes with Froch, Calzaghe, Ben, Eubanks, Collins, Groves, De Gale. Who comes out on top and who comes bottom? I think Calzaghe's number one, right? Calzaghe's number one. I don't think Eubanks scores that well in that tournament. I'll be honest, because I could see it. I could see a guy like De Gale outpointing Eubanks, like out hustling him, kind of thing. But I'd say Calzaghe definite number one. That's all I know. Calzaghe definite number one. Postal could have outboxed Hatton potentially. I'm not sure. Possibly. Yeah, but Kovalev Stevenson would have been the fight. That would have been the fight. Bro, so many people back in like 2014 at the time were so hyped about that fight, and it was going to happen. Then Stevenson went on, he signed to Showtime and started fighting guys like Fanfara, Carpensi, and people like that. And we never got it. That's a great point, actually. You are right. Yeah, Sanchez got a gift on his US debut in Florida against Escobar. Got dropped and rocked about 5 times, but escaped with a draw, yeah. See, all of these fighters had those moments in their careers. Well, I said this in my Canelo Balanga video. Like my reason or my speculation as to why Canelo doesn't want to work with Turki Al-Sheikh isn't due to money, because obviously Saudi Arabia have the money to pay Canelo what he wants. We've seen that. If you follow the Saudi Arabian influx into sport, you see what they're paying guys like Ronaldo in football. Like Canelo's not on the same level as a Ronaldo, and they're keeping Ronaldo happy financially. They can pay Canelo the money, but I think it's because Canelo wouldn't get as much control in these fights if he were to fight under Turki Al-Sheikh. I think that could be a factor. Crawford and Ortiz was exposed as sea-level brawlers. I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, Eubank may have been the toughest, but the least skilled of the lot. Least skilled? I guess maybe Nigel Benn would be least skilled from a technical perspective. Broner versus Burns at 35. I'd take Broner, to be honest. I'd take Broner. I could see it being a bit like Malignaggi. Burns won't get knocked out. He'll score, but Broner's going to land all the hard shots. But I think it will be more wide than the Malignaggi fight. I think it will be decisive, but Burns will go the distance. Taylor stopped Hatton, in my opinion. Hatton is a smaller, weaker version of Ramirez. Hatton was beaten up and dropped twice by McGee, an alcoholic, domestic-level version of Taylor. I'm not even convinced Hatton would have beaten Witter at the time they was meant to fight. Hatton didn't want that fight for a reason he didn't want that fight for a reason other than drawing power. That's a good point. I think Hatton stops Khan, however. He was all wrong for him stylistically. He would get inside and swarm him, yeah. That's how I see that fight going. Same with Taylor as well. Yeah, I think Khan would give Taylor more trouble than Hatton due to the speed and being good against southpaws. Taylor comes from behind and stops him late, in my opinion. It's interesting. I think Ben has more skill than Eubank. Not by much. He outboxed him in the first fight, but ran out of gas and got stopped, yeah. Then got robbed in the second fight. Yeah, he definitely won the second fight. He outworked Eubank. He outworked Eubank in the second fight, yeah, 100%. My thoughts on the current state of boxing? I guess just meh. Meh. It's all right. Just meh. That's all, yeah, just kind of average, I guess. Eubank most slickest? Like, Kawasaki was low-key kind of slick. So was Steve Collins. Like, Steve Collins was actually slick as well. Steve Collins was very slick. De Gea was, I wouldn't say he was slick. He was more awkward, I guess, but I get, yes, Eubank was kind of slick and, yeah. You can't see half the comments that are on screen. Yeah, it's a YouTube thing, bro. If that's the case, I think that's a YouTube thing. You sense a bad chin with a Talma. The thing is, though, with these guys with bad chins or dodgy chins, we usually hear something from sparring. And I've not heard anything yet. So we'll see. We'll see with a Talma. It's very early. A Prime Hay versus Prime Bellew, David Hay. David Hay. I mean, it took him 9 rounds to knock out a David Hay with a torn Achilles in the first fight. A shot to shit David Hay with a torn Achilles. I'll take a prime David Hay over Bellew. Do you think Boxer will survive? Their shows are 99% complete wank. Listen, man, they're getting backed by somebody. Ben Shalom is the chosen one right now, so I think they'll be around for a while, to be honest. I think they'll be around for a while. Ben Shalom seems like the type to have got that job due to other means, as I've alluded to various times in the past. They're not going to get rid of that guy anytime soon. Yeah, that's the only time we rooted for Adonis Stevenson was when he fucking knocked out Bellew. Bellew did that silly little dance in the corner, if you remember. But yeah, a prime David Hay would have smoked Bellew, in my opinion. Ben Shalom's a shape-shifting reptilian. Yeah, he has that vibe about him. He's got those dead eyes, hasn't he? Like, there's nothing in there type of thing. Like, the type of eyes to where the guy would sell his own mother for a fucking $5. Do you know what I mean? And he wouldn't fucking have a second thought of it either. There's something very, something very odd about that guy. Wouldn't trust that guy as far as I could throw him. Wouldn't trust him with anything. Wouldn't trust him to fucking make me a cup of tea. Or run me a fucking bath. Who do I find more weird, Ben Shalom or Gareth A. Davis? Ben Shalom from a sinister perspective. Gareth A. Davis is a weirdo, but I think he's the weirdo in the sense of he's a harmless creep. Like he may sniff a couple of seats or whatever. I think he's a harmless creep. Ben Shalom, I get worse vibes from. I think that guy is very shady. Very shady. Something very odd about that guy. But I can't. That's very. Yeah, I realised it as soon as I said it. Nordic. That's a bit of a terrible thing to say. I realised it as soon as I said it. Can't take it back now, though. Can't take it back now. Yeah, Ben Shalom's emotionless. Yeah, he's very stunted. Prime Hay versus Usyk at cruiserweight. It's a great fight. David Hay would be very dangerous early on. I think you'll see a lot more circumspect Usyk early in that fight, to the point to where after 6 it could be quite close on the cards. But the thing is with David Hay, his gas tank was never the best. He was so explosive. Even when he wasn't throwing, he was using a lot of energy. In the second half of a fight with Usyk, you'll see David Hay flag. So I think it's a competitive fight up until about the halfway point, and then Usyk takes over. But David Hay is going to be very dangerous early on. David Hay would be very dangerous early on. But the gas tank, I think, would be a problem in that fight for David Hay. Because much like Usyk, David Hay had to cut a lot of weight to make cruiser. But David Hay had to cut a lot more muscle. And like Nordic said, yeah, Hay was a freak athlete with great strength and power, but poor stamina. Yeah, and against a guy like Usyk, the poor stamina is a massive factor. Like David Hay, like I said, is going to be dangerous early on. And because Usyk would be so circumspect and cautious, I think Hay may nick some rounds early. Like to the point to where halfway it'd be quite close. But I think in the second half, Usyk would take over, personally. What are you thinking for Usyk Fury 2? I still have my doubts if it happens in December. Yeah, I've always got doubts when it comes to Tyson, to be honest with you. I've always got my doubts. But yeah, right now, I guess I've got no other reason other to pick Usyk. But who knows, man? If Fury really works on the stamina, then maybe he's got a chance, because I think stamina was a big part of it in the first fight, or lack of. And I actually don't think Fury was unfit in that first fight by his standards. I think Fury's turned up in a lot of fights unfit. I don't think Fury was unfit for him in that Usyk fight, but I think he can be fitter. So if I was training Fury, I'd be going hard on cardio. I really would. In fact, controversially, I'd make cardio the primary factor of his training camp for the second fight. I'd make cardio the main factor for Fury if I was training Fury. Because we know Fury's got the skill set, the range, the awkwardness to trouble Usyk. We saw that first time around. But he couldn't sustain it over 12. He couldn't. He was spent by like 7, 8. He couldn't sustain it. So if I was training Fury, I'd purely, obviously you're going to be sparring and whatnot, but I'd be very heavily focusing on cardio. What's up, Mike? Evening, Del. Hope and chat. Hopefully all is well, folks. Am I still boxing? No, bro. Not right. Not for a while, bro. Not for a while. I'm totally out of it, to be honest with you. I have not been to the gym in a minute. I don't really remember. I think it was the start of the year. It's been a while. I've just got to the point now where I've got so much shit to do, and I don't know. I just can't. I don't know. I probably should. Well, I know I should, but yeah, I've been mad into it lately over the last year or so. It really lifts me after work, and it's an escape from the BS in this country. Well, glad you're enjoying it, man. Glad you're enjoying it. Oh yeah, David Hay was definitely on the fucking roids, without doubt. Sugar Ray Leonard versus Golovkin at 160. Golovkin. Like, I don't think he beat Hagler, to be honest with you. Usyk's got some of the best stamina I've seen, I agree. Especially in those weights. God. Ben Shalom 100% went looking for that photo of Katie Price with a turd on her chest. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Usyk Hay is a fascinating fight. I think, like I said, man, I'd favour Usyk, but David Hay in the first 5-6 can't be underestimated with the power and speed. I'm going to pick Andre Ward to lose every single fantasy fight, sucker free. You're asking the wrong person. I'm a certified Andre Ward hater. In your opinion, what was Sugar Ray Leonard's best weight? 147. 147 for me. Okay, a lot of your viewers are picking Fury for the rematch. I wasn't expecting that. I can see a path to win for Fury. Like I was saying at the time, like after that fight happened, I was genuinely very impressed with Fury throughout the first half of that fight, especially. Rounds 4, 5, and 6 were like the best I've seen Fury for a long, long time, like a long, long time. But he just couldn't sustain it, like I'm saying, like, and that's why I think he should primarily focus on cardio. But maybe that was one last hurrah from Tyson. That Usyk fight. Can he get himself back up to take that rematch and train hard for it? I think for the rematch, Fury may come in heavier. Not a great idea, in my opinion. He needs fitness and mobility. I totally agree. It's kind of weird because, like, prior to that fight happening, I was kind of in that school of thought as well, that Fury should be a bit heavier to try to outmuscle Usyk and really get on top of him and whatnot. Kind of really try to drag it out of him and drain him. But having watched that first fight, I don't think that is a good idea, to be honest. I'd agree with you. Oh yeah, 100%. Usyk he'd have to be wary of David Hay's speed and power. And foot speed is another one. That could be Usyk's biggest issue against a prime David Hay, is actually the foot speed of Hay. Like being able to try and stay close to Usyk. If Fury fights Usyk like he fought Klitschko, I think he could beat him. Possibly. I actually think Fury could be on the slide big time. I think Joshua's going to stop him at this point. Hence, AJ will duck the Usyk trilogy when he beats Dubois. I mean, that's another possibility, right? Let's say AJ beats Dubois. Fury then magically gets injured before the Usyk rematch, and then Fury fights AJ. That's a very real possibility, I think. I watched one of Dubois' videos, and he said he wants Fury to gain weight and come in fatter. I don't think he understands the kind of fighter Fury is. He's not Jarrell Miller. He's a technician. Yeah, I agree. And again, I did say Fury should be a bit heavier going into that first Usyk fight, but listen, I'll concede when I'm wrong, and I think I was wrong. I'm trying to train every day this week, even with work and other stuff. I don't feel right when I don't train now. It's a great sign, man. Yeah, you're going through a bit of a transformation, bro. You're looking really good from when you first started, bro. I still think Fury beats AJ if he boxed like Vladimir on the back foot, but again, it's whether he can do that for 12. Yeah, David Hay deflated after the needles, yeah. Apparently, though, he's also on a vegan diet, right? So that's also, you have to consider that as well. I know, right, bro? I know, JD. I'm terrible. I'm terrible, yeah. I was meaning to, bro. I was meaning to, but I don't know, man. You think Usyk stops Fury in the rematch? Rocky had no sparring to beat Drago. Fury needs to follow the blueprint, yeah. Yeah, 100%. Fury needs to focus on stamina, maybe even control the pace. But yeah, slow, cumbersome target's going to get shredded by Usyk. I agree. I was impressed with Fury too. He did things against Usyk nobody else was able to do, but Usyk just adjusted and took over. Yeah, he adjusted, and Fury's gas tank went to 0, in my opinion. And again, I'm convinced that's why Fury was showboating so much early in the fight. Like, I think he was trying to convince the judges he was in control and the fans to where he would con rounds. Because I think in the back of his mind, he realized pretty early on in that fight, if he doesn't knock out Usyk, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. I think he realized that very early on. And I think he kind of doubted his gas tank very early on in that fight. I really do believe that. Fury said he's not changing the corner for the rematch. I don't think that's really the issue, man. I think the issue first time around was that his corner was so fucking discombobulated and chaotic. Like, going into the second fight, he just needs to have a word and say, listen, this is the guy who's going to speak. It should be Sugar Hill. And that's it. I think if it's one man speaking, it's okay. Like, I think the advice, it's been a while since I've seen it now, but I seem to remember at the time, the advice that Sugar Hill was giving was pretty spot on. He warned Fury about the overhand before he got caught with it and eventually got dropped. He warned Fury about that shot. You know, about Fury backing up the way he was, leaning back. Yeah, so Brian Norman Jr. is now the WBO welterweight champion. I'd actually take Stanionis over Norman Jr., to be honest. I would take Stanionis, but it's a decent fight. I've not seen too much of Norman. He had that fight with Santillan, which was a good fight. But I'd take Stanionis. Yeah, David Haye was an explosive ambush fighter who needed to plant and twist his back foot to punch. Usyk would note that and pivot around David all night. I agree, yeah. I agree. I think it'll take him a few rounds to fully neutralize that. But yeah. Yeah, I've seen Steve Robinson. Yeah, he's awful. Yeah, getting started with it is always the hardest part. Because the first couple of gym sessions after a layoff are nerve-wracking and draining. But once you get a few sessions, you'll be used to it, yeah. One of the issues I have as well right now, where I'm located, is like, I've got to drive like circa 6 miles maybe to the nearest gym, I think. About 6 miles. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but after a day's work, it's like, bro, really? Yeah. I thought Usyk beat Briedis 8-4, personally. Weird, no, okay, it's weird, right? So, I forgot what I scored Usyk Fury. I think I scored Usyk Fury 8-4 as well to Usyk. So in terms of scoring, I had them pretty much the same, but I will say I felt Fury probably posed more of a physical threat to Usyk. Yeah, when Dave Allen was going to fight Povetkin, bro, that would have been manslaughter. Yeah, getting John Fury out the corner would be a very good start. And he needs to make either Andy Lee or Sugar Hill the head trainer, like the head guy in the corner. And that's a great point as well. Yeah, John Fury is also bad PR, 100%. Yeah, Rahman Jr., yeah, garbage fighter. Dave Allen could have literally been fucking cabbaged in that fight, honestly. He could have been killed. He could have been killed. Yeah, Stanionis has a very good guard. He's not as fluid as a Winky Wright, but in terms of like the guard, yeah, he's got a very good guard, and he jabs well out of the guard as well. Stanionis, he's technically well put together. Stanionis, good balance, nice and compact, nice guard. Like I said, he does the basics very well. Nothing really jumps out at you with a guy like Stanionis, but he's a well-rounded guy. He's a well-rounded fighter. I think Wilder would get knocked out by Tua. I think Wilder probably gets knocked out by a prime Tua. Unless he just spams for jab and runs. He could beat Tua that way. If he was tall and lanky, you didn't have to be a great boxer to outbox Tua. So maybe Wilder adopts a similar game plan to what he did against Stavern in the first fight And he only did that because he hurt his hand. But if he adopted that sort of game plan, he'd have a chance against Tua. But I'll take Tua by knockout. I never thought of this comparison, by the way. I think Usyk was hurt more against Fury, though Briedis landed more punches and was more effective inside. Yeah, I don't see this one. Briedis beating Usyk. I had it 8-4. Like it was a very competitive fight, but I don't see how Briedis won it. I'll be honest. But yeah, I do think Usyk was significantly better against Fury. Usyk versus a prime Lennox is interesting. I'd have to think about that fight. I think Usyk gives Lennox the same issues he gave like Joshua. But Lennox is more of a type to try to take it into the trenches, more so than Joshua. That's an interesting fight. Yeah, his guard and his jab. Stanionis, I think he would give Boots some issues, but Boots should beat him. I agree, yeah. That's a good fight, though. Like Stanionis, though, he's been in no man's land for a while. He's been super inactive because he was supposed to fight Virgil, and that fight got cancelled like 4 times until they scrapped it. Yeah, so there's this as well. Like you can win a close fight, but it's clear. People don't understand that though. Yeah, I thought he beat Briedis like 8-4. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I don't think I've seen it since the time it happened. To be honest, I don't really rate Barrios that highly. AMG, I don't really rate him. How do you think Usyk would handle Okole's grab style? I think it would be such an eyesore. I don't think Okole gets like knocked out or anything because he's so fucking spoily. But I think Usyk wins a horrible fight. I really hope Froch has an exhibition fight versus John Fury. He's the kind of guy to smoke Big John, even in an exhibition. I'd watch it. Yeah, very inactive. When was the last time he fought Stanionis? He fought relatively recently, right? I forget who he fought, though. Who did he fight? Maestre. Yeah, Gabriel Maestre, yeah. That was in May of this year. And before then, it was April of 2022 he last fought. Do I think the world will end in 20 plus years? And how much worse will things get? Will AI truly take over? Bro, I've got no fucking clue. I just try to live for the don't want to say live for the now, but do what I've got to do now, kind of thing. Take care of those who I'm close to and whatnot, and what will be, you know. But yeah, I don't really I don't know. I do think about the future like that to a certain degree, but I don't get bogged down in it at all. I'm certainly not one of those black pill types who think all hope is lost. As bad as things are right now, I think black pill is basically a code for giving up and being defeated. And yeah, I'm certainly not like black pilled about the future. Put it that way. That's a great point, you know, because he could have fought Chris Bird and never did. Yeah, Lennox never fought a southpaw as a pro. That's a very good point. So we have no subject matter to even study that potential fantasy fight. That makes it a very interesting fantasy fight, though. That's a great point. Yeah, he never wanted to fight Chris Bird. Because I think Chris Bird definitely would have made Lennox look bad for a few rounds. I don't think Chris Bird would have won. But yeah, Chris Bird was a good fighter as well, man. He's a fighter who gets overlooked. Post Holyfield Tyson and Riddick Bowe, Chris Bird is probably the best American heavyweight champion. I know Wilder's got these title defenses, but I think Chris Bird is like the best American heavyweight champion since that era, since Tyson, Holyfield, and Riddick Bowe. I think he's the best champion they've had at heavyweight, which again is saying a lot. I'm not saying Chris Bird was a bad fighter because he clearly wasn't, but you know, it says a lot when you're saying he's arguably the best American heavyweight champion since the likes of Tyson. Because he beat some decent fighters, Chris Bird. He beat some decent fighters. Like, he beat David Tua. He got a win over Vitali. I don't care whether it was an injury. He outlasted Vitali in a fight, so it's a win for me. He beat an old Holyfield. He beat Frezequendo. He beat, I think he beat, what's that dude's name? That big fucker, Jamel McCline. So yeah, he's got some decent wins, Chris Bird. He's got some decent wins. AI takes over in 2029, according to the first Terminator film. Can you imagine if it actually comes true? Yeah, Chris Bird wasn't the biggest guy. He was like 6'1", 6'2". He was 6'1", 6'2". We was asking this earlier, Nordic, and we genuinely had to rack our brains. I'd say Jarrell Miller. Like, based on recency, like I felt he beat Ruiz. I'd probably say Jarrell Miller. I'd say Jarrell Miller. Because Wilder's washed. Michael Hunter's in no man's land. He looks washed. Anderson got exposed. Jermaine Franklin is like a capable sort of gatekeeper club fighter. Richard Torres, I don't really rate that highly. Who's coming up? Genuinely, I'd say Miller has a good argument. Miller has a good argument to be the best right now. But yeah, Chris Bird was pretty small. He wasn't a big heavyweight. American heavyweight boxing is finished, yep. And people are now going to say the division's weak. I've never said the division is the strongest right now, but there were so many people calling the division a golden era a few years ago. And now there's no Americans. It's pretty much as strong as it was back then, but people are going to call it weak. Yeah, you can't say it's Ruiz anymore, yeah. Number one, he lost, and like you said, he's got 1 foot out of the door. And I know he got injured in that fight, and it looked pretty genuine, but still, he lost, He lost, in my opinion, so... Jake the Dream Paul versus Devin the Queen Haney at 200 pounds. We've got to go Jake Paul. What's up, Ian? Long time no see, man. Hopefully you're well. Yeah, I think Gassiev is done. Chisora White 3 is interesting. I'll probably take White, to be honest. But he could be more washed than Chisora. Who knows? See, if Ruiz wants to come back, he needs to fight either Miller again or a guy like Chisora, to be honest. So those sort of fights, that's his level. I'd probably say Benavidez crazy D3. I'd say Benavidez. Both guys looked very beatable on their 175 debuts. Both guys looked beatable. Prime Povetkin would beat all the current heavyweights other than Usyk and Fury, in my opinion. That's not a wild take at all. Joshua's in... So for me, Joshua's probably going to be like 50-50, to be honest. A prime Povetkin versus like a prime Joshua. I think it'd be 50-50 pretty much. I think those guys could fight multiple times and it goes pretty even. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, Jalalov. I follow Jalalov since, well, I guess the last Olympics, or maybe just before, whenever it was. Um, yeah, before the last Olympics. But yeah, you're right. He's not pushed on the way I thought he would because he's fucking pissed around in the amateurs. He's won another gold medal, so he's a two-time gold medalist at super heavyweight now, Jalalov. But what does it really matter? You know, is he going to do anything as a pro? Can he do it over 3 rounds? I don't know. Earlier in his pro career, he was susceptible to pressure. And he just strikes me as that type of guy who can't do it over 12 for whatever reason. So yeah, he's got skill. He's a southpaw who darts in and out very quickly. He's tall, he's rangy, he's powerful, good at distance. But yeah, I don't know. Boogie 2988 versus George Foreman. Boogie is too big, too strong. Shane Murphy, thoughts on Boxing Truth? I've not listened to him. Lee Talks Boxing, very cool dude, good guy, knowledgeable. Blood Boxing, not seen him in a long time. John Boxing, don't know who it is, to be honest. I wouldn't say he was schooling Joshua, to be honest. He was getting a lot of good work off. But for me, schooling is like when a guy's not in the fight, to be honest. I wouldn't say he was schooling Joshua. But he was very competitive. He bust Joshua's nose. He won some rounds. He was very competitive and very lively. Wings of Redemption versus Dave Allen. Wings might have quicker hands. To be honest with you. He's got quicker hands at the buffet table and in the ring. Yeah, I've not seen him in a while either. I think he streams now and again. I think I watched one of his streams a few months ago. I think it was after possibly when Wilder got knocked out or when he lost to Parker maybe, or when he got knocked out by Zhang, one of those two. Yeah. Yeah, I question Jalalov's heart. Easy to pick on amateurs when you've had pro rounds, yeah. Imagine if Chisora wins a legitimate heavyweight title at this stage in the game. That'd be hilarious. Turkey versus Dana White in a street fight. Who wins? Turkey has the crazy eyes. Yeah, Turkey's going to get interference like some WWE shit. I think Turkey wins by means of interference. British heavyweights are finished. It's the Usyk era. I wouldn't say finished per se. I think outside of Usyk, British heavyweights are pretty much the most relevant, aside from like Zhang as well and Joey Parker. So I wouldn't say they're finished. So if like UK heavyweights are finished, then like US heavyweights are buried. Who wins, Triple B or Tyan Booth? Triple B. Triple B. Triple B's too big, too strong, too slick. No, it's not. It's not even coping as such. It's like, have you like followed this channel? I get accused of being a fucking hater of like UK fighters all the time. I'm the biggest hater of UK fighters according to some, but I'm talking to you factually outside of Usyk, the most like the most relevant heavyweight contenders are Fury, Joshua, Dubois. Some would say the most hottest prospect is a Talma. Like just look at the top 10 rankings. I'm just talking about objective facts. We don't operate on on feelings when it comes to a boxing debate. And yeah, Usyk is the man. And by the way, I was the guy clowning Fury when he lost. So it's like, come on, son. A Talma versus Anderson. A Talma. Round robin between Zhang, Bakole, Caballel. Yeah, that would be nice on the Riyadh cards. 100%. 100%. Yeah. I don't know who would come out on top. To be honest with you, like I think Zhang is the best out of those guys you mentioned, but it's the gas tank. It's the stamina. So if he had like 12 round stamina, I'd pick Zhang very comfortably, very confidently. Sorry, but yeah, but exactly, it's this. JD, think with your brain, not your heart. Women think with their heart. Yeah. And that's like that's why I don't get on with like a lot of the boxing community, because they think like that in terms of like, oh, they kind of just root for guys on a surface value because they maybe look a little like them or whatever, despite all the bullshit that comes along with it. Just because they look like them, they'll support them. It's very surface level, it's very emotional. And yeah, I'm just above it, to be quite frank. Arrogant as that sounds. How much longer can Eddie Hearn milk Johnny Fisher? His fans are very low IQ. His fans are like just knuckle dragging social media louts. They're not even like football fans. They're like social media louts. Bush, all that shit. Doesn't take much to keep them happy. Get that big fucker, that big fat slob, old Johnny, Big John. Get him out. That's all they need. The son is secondary. Johnny Fisher's not even the main attraction. It's his dad. That's the main attraction. Complete and utter shit, Johnny Fisher. Garbage. But he's not going to get exposed for a while because they're going to be treating him with like kid gloves. They're not going to match that guy tough for a while. Once the current generation of heavyweights go, it's looking a bit thin on the ground. I agree. I totally agree. Yeah, bro, the David Allen cult following. Yep, I do remember. Very annoying. Yeah. I mean, his dad's ate half of fucking Hong Kong, has he not? Fucking hell. I reckon Big John's fucking diet could probably feed Hong Kong for about a week. His weekly diet could feed Hong Kong for a week. I think Chizora's way too much for Johnny Fisher right now. Way too much. He'd eat China out of business. That's what we should do in this like economic war with China. Just send Big John out there. He's going to starve them. It's going to be like the potato famine 2.0. Just send Big John out there. That's basically it. We win. The West wins. Big John becomes an icon. He becomes a saint. He gets like he gets an MBE. Who's more of a glutton, Fisher's dad or Andy Ruiz? Fisher's dad. Fisher's dad, without doubt. By the way, gluttony is one of the 7 deadly sins. And there's a reason as to why that sort of lifestyle is being promoted. It's a lot deeper than people think it is. It's weird you say that, Nordic. I would not be surprised, yeah, In 5 to 10 years' time, you'll see Andy Ruiz on Joe Rogan where he's got like a six pack and he's ripped. Like he finally gets in shape when he's retired. He seems like that type, like complete idiot. Yeah, he's the Australian kid, right? Terramona Jr. looked pretty good at the Olympics. I thought he just beat Jalolov, but no real standouts at super heavyweight. Lazibek Mulajanov was decent at heavyweight from what I saw. Yeah, I keep on getting told about Lazizbek, yeah. I keep on getting told about him. Apparently, he's the standout guy from the Uzbek team. Indeed, yeah. I agree, Nordic. There's more to it than just being nice for nice sake. This whole body positivity thing. There's more. It's not just about just some like far left. It is that, but there's something a lot more sinister behind that movement. Is what I'm trying to say, basically. In my opinion, I could be totally wrong, but it's just my intuition. Yeah, it's like Boogie, bro. Boogie 2988. That guy. Um, utter sociopath or psychopath, whatever the term is. Complete narcissist, emotional blackmailer. Yeah, you can see it, like total victimhood complex, which he uses for the emotional blackmail, 100%. And that trait runs in other communities as well, by the way. That are being pushed by mainstream media. That's all I'll say again. You know, when your life is so when you expect the world to validate your identity by lying, you are a narcissist by definition. You are a narcissist by definition. Just a reality. And that's not just about this whole fat positivity thing. It's about many, many different aspects of society. But yeah, if you expect the world to lie to validate your identity, quote unquote identity, you are a narcissist. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Boogie's a very good example. 100%. Yeah, he is a narcissist. 100%. My fat buddy said he'd rather be fat and happy rather than skinny and miserable. I don't know. Makes you think. I don't know, man. I think that's cope, but yeah, I agree, Nordic. Yeah, I agree. I think listen, body positivity is like, to a degree, it makes sense. So, for example, something you can't change, like, for example, you got a big nose. God gave you it, is what it is. I think you should be positive about what God gave you, like your natural, like, deficiencies or what you have going for you. Could be like, you know, where your warts and all with pride, but be happy with what God did bless you. But yeah, I think Kakache beats him. I think Kakache might be too big, Shane. I think Kakache might be too big. I need to look back at it though. They're not the only self deletion cult though, Nordic. They're not the only one. They're actually one of the most mild ones, to be quite frank. That's what I was getting at, JD. Yeah, socially engineering behaviors towards a more destructive path in plain sight. Yeah, 100%. And regardless, a lot of people are atheists now and have no religion. and even like quote unquote atheists, they always develop this like they always fill it with something, and it's always like a secular belief system. So these guys then gravitate towards something that is utterly toxic. The older you get, is the more you realize religion is needed or beneficial. I mean, if that was the case, JD, Paddy Pimblett also said he'd rather be fat and happy than be shredded. If that was the case, JD, he'd never fight again. He's lying. He's lying. Check out how the BP movement treats its members who make changes for health reasons. They shame them and they exile them from the community, even when they have no choice or they'll die. Yeah. There are others with the exact same final agenda. Yep. I agree. Yeah, Lee Wood has a better chance versus Kakache due to his power. Warrington could be too small and lacks power. I agree. It's going to be a very good fight, though. Yeah. I almost fell for the scam myself a few years ago. Thought being a bit obese was my genetics. Deluded myself it was food and laziness. Yeah, that's one thing I have tried in the last couple of weeks. I'm trying to cook for myself a lot more because I haven't ballooned up in weight. Or anything like that. I'm still like at a good weight, but I can't keep on fucking around and expecting not to eventually gain weight. So yeah, I need to make a change now. And I'm starting by food. I think food is most important. Yeah, nobody's genetically obese unless there's like the rarity with like a glandular problem or something like that, right? But that's not. I mean, that can be genetics, but yeah, unless it's something rare like that, you're right. Some people do put weight on easier than others, though. That is true. Yeah. Peter McGrail looks talented, man, but yeah, he needs to avenge that defeat. That's true as well. It's interesting where these thyroid issues came from. Yeah, but obesity is a modern phenomenon. Yeah, no one had thyroid issues in history and in the third world. Yeah, yeah. Most people need religion and a moral compass. Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. Because that void gets filled with something else. That void gets filled with something else. Yeah, I agree. Nordic. Yeah, genetics do play a role, but nobody is 550 pounds and can't wipe their own butts due to genetics. Yeah. Donovan for me, Jordan. I'm not that sold on Crocker at all. I'm not that sold. A lot of things are modern phenomenons, to be honest. Yep. Too true. Too true. A lot of toxic shit. Yeah, Uber Eats, Deliveroo, Just Eat haven't helped. Yep. Not their fault, though. They're just exploiting society's laziness. Yeah. Yeah. I don't get how people do that, though, like every day, man. It's so fucking expensive. Like, I maybe order something like from Just Eat or whatever, conservatively, I'd say 5 or 6 times a year. Like 5 or 6 times a year, I'll order something. I think this year maybe I've ordered something like 3 times, maybe. Like now and again, it's like it's all right. You know, if you want to treat yourself, whatever. Maybe you come home from work and you haven't got anything in, whatever. Like cool, once in a while, whatever. But yeah, I don't understand how there's people out there who do it like pretty much every day. It's crazy. Like there's people out there who probably haven't cooked a meal in like a year. You know. Yeah, don't cook, just eat was the literal slogan. Yeah. And when you cook a meal in general, like even if it's something simple like a steak, for example, like you just feel a lot more satisfied after knowing that you cooked it. Doesn't have to be something fucking extravagant. Like I cooked myself yesterday, just some like pilau rice, some basa fish that I kind of wrapped in foil with butter, garlic, lemon, and I done some green beans, again wrapped in foil in butter, and it was fucking awesome, like really nice, but super easy. Barely did any prep work, and it was fucking lovely, like really nice. You'll be fine, Larry, man. You're a smart guy. Got a massive exam on Thursday. Need to pass it to stay on my course. So nervous, but I've worked hard for it. Yeah, the only thing now that you can do, bro, is if you know you've put in the work, you've put in the work. All I would do now is try to relax, try to alleviate that stress, try to alleviate that anxiety, and take your mind off it. Again, maybe something physical, but yeah, you'll be fine, man. I'm sure. Yeah, I watched an episode of £600 Life, and a guy woke up, ordered about 10,000 calories worth of takeout for breakfast, and then was like, now I'm thinking about what to have for lunch. Sometimes I watch those shows just out of morbid curiosity, to be quite frank. There's that aspect to my personality where I kind of like to delve into that kind of these degenerate I guess it's a subculture, where I look into these sort of subcultures or communities, and I just look at it from the outside looking in, just out of morbid curiosity. And once you watch that sort of shit, you're kind of hooked. Had 2 sirloin steaks after the gym yesterday. Needed the protein and felt amazing. Yeah, I do like a nice steak. No, I had a steak in a couple of weeks, actually. I might get one. I might get a steak next time I go shopping. Yeah, it's fucking expensive as well. For some reason, fasting is frowned upon in Western societies. Yeah. Well, it's funny. I've spoken about this before. I've never been the type of guy to like micromanage anything I eat. The only diet, well, I try to eat healthily sometimes, like I'm trying to do now, but I don't like micromanage everything and all that shit, because we know what's healthy for us at the end of the day. We know what's not. But the only diet I have done is the intermittent fasting, and I did a window. I basically had 1 meal a day. Essentially, is what I did. Is how I did it. Just 1 meal a day, about the same time, about 6 o'clock at night. 1 meal, bang, and that was it. I did that for about. I did it for a few months, and for the first few days, like maybe first sort of 4 5 days, maybe it was hard. But once your body gets used to it, I felt like I had so much more energy, like so much more energy. I felt so fresher, less brain fog, all that shit, all that shit. And I felt good. I felt good, but I kind of slipped out of it, and here we are. That sounds good. Yeah, boiled eggs are lovely. Boiled eggs are lovely. No worries, Larry, man. You'll be fine, man. I'm sure. Would you rather be filthy rich, but the catch is you weigh 600 pounds, or skinny and broke living with family? That's a great question. Define filthy rich. Are we talking tens of millions? I'd actually pick being fat. I'll tell you for why. Because I'd kind of want to prove that I could still lose the weight. Because it'd give you a goal at least, right? It'd give you a goal. Are you fast multiple times a week? Yeah, fasting. Listen, I felt good doing the intermittent shit. I really did. I love me some salmon. I love salmon. I love it. I mean, there's a reason religions preach fasting, man. It does feel like once you get into the routine of fasting, it does feel like you're not on a different level of consciousness. That's way too far. But it feels like your thinking is a lot more concise, and you can tune in a lot easier. That's the best way I can describe it. Best thing to do is make food from scratch, especially carbs. Breads from a supermarket is full of crap, as is pre-flavored or breaded meat. Yeah, I never order breaded meat, honestly. Aside from occasionally, I'll get some chicken wings, but that's about it. Yeah, I got on with it really well, intermittent fasting. I'm thinking of making a video about weight loss and diet, but I'm scared to do it. It'd be kind of cringy and it'd make me look like a bellend. Plus, it's embarrassing to talk about my old habits, laugh out loud. I don't think it would, to be honest, because once you put it out there, like I guess it's a way to hold yourself even more accountable once you've put it out there for people to see, because you realize you have even more motivation then not to go back to the way you were. I don't think it would be. I think your subscriber base would enjoy it. I'd watch it. Yeah, when you're fasting, your body doesn't waste energy on constantly digesting food. Plus, it gives your body a chance to repair any damage and inflammation. Yeah. How do you cope with lazy fuckers at work who make your job harder? I'm really struggling at the moment, getting so stressed and angry during the day. Right now, I'm kind of, to be honest with you, I've been very lucky in that regard. I've never really had to deal with it, to be honest. I'm not sure what I'd do. I think a few years ago, I'd have just grinned and bared it. I think right now, where I am in life now, and how I've kind of developed, I guess, I wouldn't hold my tongue anymore. I wouldn't hold my tongue now if that was happening. Um, yeah, when there's something now, it could be anything at work that I don't like. I wouldn't say I'm hostile about it, but I'm pretty honest and pretty blunt about it these days. So I'd be addressing it either with the person or maybe even getting a manager involved or something. When I fast at work, people think I'm weird and try to convince me to eat. Yeah, I mean, but people have fasted for thousands of years, right? What we're doing now is super fucking. People used to fast not even by design back in the day. They just didn't have like the sheer amount of food we have now. But people never thought anything of it. You know, what we're doing now is very new. It's only just been recent within the last 100 years where this has been like common to eat like more than 3 times a day or whatever. Yeah, you do need to eat well if you're eating once a day. No Big Macs or KFC. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, salmon is lovely, man. I love salmon. Yeah, I eat fish maybe once or twice a week, but I love fish. I love me some fish. I love all fish, man. I love all fish. Like a couple of weeks ago, I had smoked kippers, and bro, they were so nice. So for you Americans out there, smoked kippers are the herring, I guess, just smoked herring, basically. So good. Am I religious? If you're happy to answer, obviously. I'll probably cover that at some point in time. I've been having a lot of I don't know. I've been thinking about that sort of thing a lot recently. Yeah, exactly. Apparently, Jesus Christ fasted for 40 days. I mean, it's possible, right? On only water. I would like to try one of those long fasts, like for like even if it's like maybe do one over a weekend at some point. Maybe do one over a weekend and then go from there. Maybe do a few weekends, see how you get on, and see from there. Pretty much, Spen. Yeah, pretty much. They want us obese and weak, so we're easy to control. Yeah. Yeah, if you're filthy rich, losing the weight shouldn't be a problem. So that's the obvious choice. Yeah, I think I'd take it as well. Let me ace. I just started intermittent fasting again a couple of weeks ago, and I'm already down 10 pounds. Yeah. No, I've not, but I'd try. I would definitely try. Do you know what I like when you get a whole fish? When you cook like a whole fish, I like eating the tail. I know a lot of people find that gross, but it's like crispy. It's like a fucking fish crisp. It's fucking nice. So if you buy like a whole trout or something like that, eat like the tail. Yeah, if you're still a growing teenager, then fair enough, eat a lot. But once you're fully grown, you must be conscious of what you eat. Yeah. That's one thing, actually, looking back, I didn't realize it at the time, but my parents fed me really well. As in, not like fed me a load of crap, but like my parents always cooked, because they had to really. They couldn't afford like buying all this processed shit, so they had to cook. But, some like a lot of the times my dad would work for like a landlord kind of thing, who he would like decorate their properties, and that guy used to hunt, so he used to give us like all sorts of fresh meat, like even game like pheasant and whatnot, like proper rich man food when we was broke. So yeah, my parents like fed us really good, man. Growing up, I was very lucky about that. You've done a 4-day fast and it killed you. I just fasted for our sixth form, just a bag of Doritos for lunch. Bro, fair play, man. I've not eaten them. How do you? Sounds weird. How do you cook them? How do you cook them and how do you eat them? Do you eat the whole thing? Yeah, historically, malnutrition was a big problem, not fasting. There's a reason every culture, West and East, have fasting in its DNA. Yeah, and I guess there's also the detoxification aspect of it as well, right? Yeah, yeah. I saw LJR. Yeah, I saw. Not surprised, man. That guy's always injured. Maybe he should try some fasting. I need to have a look, man. I need to have a look. That sounds all right. Fasting for between a week and 10 days has shown to destroy the spike protein from the jabs. That's interesting. I recommend everyone in my family who's had them to fast. That's really interesting. Kind of makes sense, to be honest. I'm not really expecting anything waved, to be honest, with Man United this season. I'm just going to see what happens. See what happens, man. The only thing is, we're not spending as much money on these players. We're not getting bent over in the transfer market, which is good. But yeah, I mean, we'll see where we go. We'll see where we go this season, but no real hope. No real hope. If we could snag another cup, that would be good. Like a Europa League or another FA Cup or something. Maybe top 5. But I doubt. I don't know. Not really been paying attention to football or anything. No, not right now, Waved. When I was active, I just boxed. I just went boxing gym and that was it. Didn't touch weights. All I did was calisthenics, running, and boxing training, basically. So sparring pads and heavy bag. And aside from that, yeah, like calisthenics, like push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, hanging, and running, basically. That was it. That was it when I was boxing. But I need to start boxing again. Because boxing's the only way I'm going to get active again, honestly. Because I'm never going to go to a regular gym. The reason for fasting is to initiate autophagy, recycles your senescent cells, which are aging you. Okay. So you're saying fasting is slows down the process of aging. Okay, probably should start it then. Yeah, I should probably buy some like free weights and shit like that. To be honest with you, like, there's no reason why I can't do that. Like, anybody can do like 20 minutes a day or something. Find 20 minutes to do something, right? RVP or RVM, who was the better striker? From a technical perspective, Van Persie. From a technical perspective, Van Persie. Just being an all-out scorer, Van Nistelrooy, but pure footballer, Van Persie. Yeah, walking's cool, man. I like walking at night though. Yeah, so it's not so much my knees. Um, when it comes to things like that, it's more so my lower back than anything. Like, that's the only real thing. Like, is my lower back sometimes. Yeah, night walks are good. I need to take one at some point. Just around the block kind of thing, maybe. But yeah, I do need to like do something. Try to get a little fitter, whatever. Yeah, so weirdly, so like my wrists and like I've had a couple of wrist niggles over the years boxing, but my elbows not so much. My left shoulder's always been a bit dodgy, to be honest. I think there's something wrong with it. It's been like that for like 10 years or so. So like it's hard to explain. So my left shoulder, I can basically almost pop it out and put my finger under the socket kind of thing. And sometimes my left shoulder hurts. It's like I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with it. But yeah, so basically I can like put my left shoulder out, put my finger under it, and feel like under the shoulder blade. And yeah, sometimes my left shoulder hurts a fair bit. Sometimes I'm not sure what's wrong with it. It's been like that for years as well, like a long time. But I've never got it checked. I just don't see the point. It's not like posing me any like major issues per se. So fucking leave it. Might as well leave it, right? Don't want to go doctors. What's the point anyway? Like, try to get an appointment and you're waiting for like 6 months. What's the point? Unless it like really hurt or really bothered me. then I'm not going to go doctors or anything like that. Yeah, 30 minutes a day of free weights, curls, push-ups, etc. really help your joints and strengthen them. Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why I can't incorporate it. It's like Nordic said though, it's just getting in a basic routine. It's getting in a routine is what it is. Collagen for joints, take it daily. Yeah, but people say that wake up early and get the workout done, and then yeah, fires you up for the day. But yeah, a lot of it is scheduling. It's a lot of it is scheduling and getting in a routine. My left shoulder is my the biggest issue, especially with me being a southpaw. Had surgery on it. Um, Edge of a collarbone was scraping away my ligaments. Constant pain. Never been the same since. Yeah, my left shoulder's weird, bro, as well. So that's my jab. It's my jab, basically. I'm orthodox. Um, and yeah, it feels like it's got a lot of give in it. It's hard to explain. But sometimes I'll throw a jab, like when I was boxing, I'd throw a jab and let's say I'd miss and I'd overextend and you could feel it in the shoulder. It wasn't like a devastating pain or anything like that. It wasn't like a pain that you thought, fuck. But it was uncomfortable more than anything kind of thing. No, my manager's okay. My manager's okay. JD. Yeah, somebody was saying this earlier. Yeah, fasting above 17 hours and the body enters autophagy. 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 The brain releases stem cells to repair damaged cells, tissues, and organs. Yeah, I'm going to try and get back on the 1 meal a day, the 1 meal a day kind of thing. Just make sure my diet's better when I have those meals, obviously, more varied. But yeah, that was the best for me personally. That was the easiest to stick to for me because there was no faffing around. It was very simple, 1 meal a day, and that was good for me. That was very good for me. Now I've never had like pain in my elbow area, just my shoulder, my left shoulder. Dead hangs are great for shoulder mobility. Yeah, I was always good at dead hangs for some reason. I could hold dead hangs for a while. I've always been good with shit like that though, like my like body weight shit. I don't know why, but I've always been pretty good at that sort of shit. Um, I'm not doing the 1 meal a day thing now, but like when I was having it at like 6 o'clock in the evening. So like evening time, early evening. So sufficient enough time before I went to bed. So about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock latest. I'm worried about the carnivore diet YouTube rabbit hole. I wouldn't mind trying the whole carnivore diet thing. I would try it. But I do like some greens. I do like some greens. Like I like my beans. I like broccoli and shit like that. You think a 3 day fast is ideal? Yeah, I would fuck doing that. Yeah, never do a raw meat diet. I wouldn't do it. I guess it's like it's an okay thing to try, right? If you know exactly where the meat's sourced from and how hygienic it is, right? Yeah, they say raw meat diet is good, but I'm not doing it. Raw meat is actually fairly common in certain places. Yeah, the only thing is doing it like the first few days are going to be hard. It was for me anyway. It was for me when you try to make it a routine. The first few days are hard. It's weird because sometimes I'll have one meal in a day without thinking about it. Sometimes I'll have one meal in a day and I don't think about it. It just happens. But when you try to plan it, it becomes a lot harder for some reason. Yeah, problem with the carnivore diet is that it can cause you to worry about and demonize other types of food. It can be a bit cultish, but it is good for you. Yeah. Um. Yeah, I think a lot of diets are like that though, right? Nordic. There's a lot of people who kind of swear by them, and they kind of almost. It's basically like what vegans do, right? Kind of thing. It's basically what they do. They kind of make it everything. It almost becomes their like whole personality kind of thing. Yeah, carnivore diet doesn't work with supermarket meat. They don't get the nutrients wild animals ingest. It should only be done with game meat. Yeah, yeah. If you can source it yourself and hunt yourself, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. But I'd love to get to that stage in life where I could own a bit of land and raise a few animals for food purposes. Yeah, stay away from vegan diets loaded with artificial preservatives and B vitamins. Yeah, yeah, 100%. I don't even remember genuinely the last time I had a meal where my main meal didn't include meat. I just don't feel, I wouldn't feel satiated or full or satisfied. Yeah, those videos are fake. Yeah. Keep watching those videos where the guys do 20 push ups a day for a month and he's shredded. Yeah, that's fake as fuck. No, bro, no. Even when I was like training, I never really took supplements, to be honest. So I just can't be asked to fucking research what you should take and all that crap. The only thing I took for a while was cod liver oil because of like joints and shit. That's really it. That's really it. But I never took like supplements. Couldn't be asked. I couldn't really be bothered to do the research. Just try to eat well and yeah, that's really it. See you later, corruption man. Have a good one, bro. Nice to see you, man. Be nice to see you back on like panels as well, bro. Nice to see you, man. Some people take supplements for high T. Yeah, I just don't. I don't know. I think that whole thing takes a lot of research. Whereas, again, the diet industry, the fitness industry likes to overcomplicate things, but I think we all know what's healthy and what isn't. I know the lines have been blurred with certain things like butter and all that crap, like butter's good, but the lines have been blurred to a certain degree, but basically we know what's healthy for us, we know what isn't, right? Um, I'll be honest, Nordic, right now, I definitely like when I was younger, like the whole aesthetics thing was more appealing, but right now not so much. Just want to feel better. How far can reform go? That is like just another fake option. Oh, is that your alt? I didn't even see it. Or did I? Did I see it? I think I saw the name earlier, Duck. Okay, so that's your alt. Okay, I know now. Yeah, best to train for health, fitness, and strength. Yeah. I might just start. Listen, I'll start by cleaning up my diet. I think that's the main thing. Yeah. Yeah, just train and see where it goes, right? What will be, will be. No, I would like a six pack. I had a skinny six pack when I was young, when I was boxing, when I actually took boxing seriously, or more, or the most serious I've taken it. I had a skinny guy six pack when I was young. I had a skinny guy six pack. So it's like a fat girl with tits. Does it really count? Maybe not. But I had a skinny guy six pack. I literally don't work. Sorry, I literally work out so I don't get fat. I don't weigh much, but my fat distribution is that most of it goes straight to my belly. So that's terrible. Yeah. Yeah, that's what happens with me as well, bro, Duck. That's what happens with me as well. So when I was fighting, when I was sparring, when I was training, well, in general, my natural style is like outside fighter, low lead hand, lean back, pop in the jab, back step, fire the straight right, kind of that type of fighter. Tried to make the most of the reach kind of thing. I wasn't great on the inside. Yeah, six packs actually serve low function. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, all they mean is that you have a low body fat percentage. Yeah, most. Yeah, 100%. So you could have like really like defined abs under like a layer of like fat, like healthy fat. 100%. A certain amount of belly fat actually helps to support your back. Yeah, that makes sense. Exactly, Mr. Vanilla. Yeah, lanky, long arms, basically. Yeah, when I was shredded, I was literally always tired and felt like crap. Now I train to stay healthy and I feel great and perform better in sports, even as I get older. Because I'll be honest, yeah, the thought crossed my mind when I turned 30, which was in May. I had the like crazy thought of like just getting on some light steroids and like seeing what I do with it. And I thought that's a dumb idea. I didn't do it in the end, but I was researching it. I'm not going to lie. I was researching it. But I'd rather not like shrivel my balls up. You know what I mean? Yeah, I agree, Waved. Yeah, British boxing's losing or has lost so many characters like Khan Haid, Froch Chisora, Billy Joe, and yeah, now Fury, etc. out the door soon. Seems like a dark age is among us. I've said this for a while, Waved. I totally agree. And it's not even there's a lack of like potential superstars coming through and a lack of quality as well. I think there's a lack of quality as well. See a HRT clinic if you do. Get on the roids. But no, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it, honestly. I'm 28 now. Does turning 30 feel any different? No. No. I don't feel 30, honestly. I don't. I don't feel any different at all. Still feel the same old Del Boy. All you've got is that autistic Mong Dubois. I'm too scared to take steroids. I would if I knew they were 100% safe and had no dangerous side effects. Yeah. I'm sure there's ways you can do steroids with like minimizing the side effects and negative effects, but you're talking about spending fucking a lot of money, which I don't have to spend on fucking steroids. The steroids themselves, though, are cheap. A lot of steroids themselves are cheap as fuck. And yeah, I don't want to fuck my balls up, my testosterone or like my hormones, all that shit. Without that, yeah, low key, I'm not gonna lie. If steroids didn't fuck your hormones up, I probably would take them. I'd try it. Despite the heart issues, I'd give it a go. I'd give it a whirl. I'd risk it. I'd roll the dice. This is going to get hate, but there's a supplement called testosterone. A lot of people have like opinions on it, but it's on a VADA watch list and has no side effects known yet. Testosterone, what the fuck is that? Testosterone. Testosterone is a steroid hormone in insects and certain plant species, and is believed to help with deterring predators and regulating reproduction. Okay. What does testosterone do to the body? It's known for its potential anabolic effects. Testosterone works by interacting with the body's hormonal and metabolic systems. It can increase protein synthesis, enhancing muscle growth and recovery, similar to anabolic steroids, but without their side effects. There you go. It's Turkestone for Turks. Yeah, Melodium. Yeah, Meldonium. Yeah. Osterine as well. Get that down here. Allegedly, yeah. Apparently, he's got a TUE or had the TUE. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, guys, I need to wrap it up. I've got to go to the office tomorrow. I've got to wake up relatively early. Probably got to get up at 6:30. So yeah, it gives me circa 8 hours sleep if I go to bed now. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. Have a great one. Not really too much to talk about this week, to be honest. Not much boxing coming up. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. Have a good one. Have a great rest of your week. All that good shit. I'll catch you when I catch you. I'll probably try and do a stream maybe middle of next week, something like that. But yeah, guys, peace out. Have a good one.